The ancient Greeks, they loved their heroes, and they thought their heroes were the plaything of gods. Sometimes I feel that way in my life, that my life is just this story of comedies and tragedies that someone's getting a kick out of. And one day, I parted ways with my business partner, a man I really love and respect, and the path in our business was leading us in different directions. And later that night, my girlfriend called me. We were taking some space and we ended up having a really tough conversation. Ended up fighting a little bit. And yeah, it's not looking good from here. We're going to take some more space and it's a good chance that we're going to break up. And especially after a fight like that, the anger, the grief, like just not being seen fully. Man, sometimes relationships can be so infuriating. The people we love most can piss us off so much. Oh my God. And it made me take a step back. Like all of these things going wrong at one time in my life, like YouTube, man, the algorithm's just kicking my ass, like business partner going separate ways. I had to cancel my Airbnb from Mexico, cancel the trips that I had planned with this woman, like our relationships on the rocks. And it's just like this emotional roller coaster. And I sat down there last night looking at the stars and just like crying and laughing at the absurdity of life. Like I'm back at square one again. And my God, this is, in terms of the scale of heartbreak I've experienced, this is not that profound. I've experienced peak heartbreak before, but it still sucks. Like when things fuck with your heart, like the attachments we have and the people we have and the people we love and the futures that we build, together. And then to have all of that go away, there's a lot of grief there. There's a lot of sorrow there. And all these feelings of anger and grief were coming over me last night. And I just started laughing because I just realized that the higher part of me is one with the gods. And the higher part of me has literally consumed lifetimes, lifetime after lifetime. And this shit, it doesn't matter to him. He is unbothered, he is fearless, and he is joyful. And the only, what he wants out of life is the full experience of being alive. Like whether that's heartbreak or falling in love, whether that's success or that's loneliness, like whatever, life brings to him, he wants to fully revel in that experience. And I was sitting there staring at the stars and just just sinking into the heartbreak. And the question always comes to me in times of change is, if you were living and loving fearlessly, what would you do? If you were looking at your life from a higher vantage point and embracing the full saga, the heroic saga of your life, how would you live it? And oftentimes I feel like we play small and we play safe because we don't realize that we could die tomorrow, that we could die next year, that the end is near, right? And I think this is why the heroic appreciation of tragedy, like the ancient Greek heroes, this appreciation of tragedy and comedy, of these great decisions and follies and hubris and joys and loves, I think it's so special because it's this full affirmation of life. Not just the romantic life and not just the heroic victory, but the heroic, collapse of Achilles, right? The heroic loss of Patroclus. I think we go through, I go through a lot of challenging and extreme times in my life, and I'm always left feeling so grateful for the contrast. A month ago, I was in paradise with my love. My business was going good. I felt in my purpose. I was leading calls in the men's academy with 20 plus men. Felt amazing. And I got restless. I was just, honestly, life started to feel dull, hollow, incomplete. I didn't have my dance. I didn't have my joy. And I started feeling restless for contrast. And I wrote an article that I would choose the pinnacle of meaningful struggle over a lukewarm life any day. here comes that storm. Here comes that season. And honestly, I feel joyful. It's amazing. Maybe I've, taken enough beatings by life to have been black and blue before so that now I can smile when I enter the ring again. But it feels joyful. Like last night, I knew I was in, the dark, irrational parts of grief and despair, but I knew it was going to pass. And I just like weathered this storm, and I woke up feeling so light, like being able to work, being able to breathe, being able to feel the sun and feel the life flow through me and feel the openness in my future and the openness in my body is beautiful. And to like let the emotions like run their course fully. It's something that's taken me a long time to learn in my life. Before I would have like maybe ran and tried to text other women or think about a different future or, distract myself with pleasures or drugs or chase something else, And now I'm just like, beautiful. What is this? What is this? Let's go to the bottom of this. And yeah, ultimately like moving through, this kind of like collapse is really good. My business partner and my mentor, he told me yesterday on a call, he was like, it's always the double descents that precede like the great rise. Like for instance, if you're feeling knocked down in life right now, you're feeling a little depressed or anxious or things are not going well, there's a part of you that's like, I'm gonna like, you know what, I'm gonna get back on my grind. I'm gonna get back into the gym, start working harder than ever. And it's not true. What's gonna happen is something else is gonna go wrong and you're gonna go face plant into the muck. And when you go face plant into the muck and you're like, fuck, and you have to fully let go, that's where you find courage. That's where you find the will to transform yourself. It's not just, oh, I'm addicted to video games and pornography and things aren't going well in my life. It's like, well, how about you lose your job too? Or your girlfriend or something goes, like a tragedy happens. And it's funny, we run from tragedy, but I agree with Nietzsche's philosophy to embrace the downgoings in our life, because that's where transformation comes from. We're often, a lot of people on this channel, it's like, oh, I'm going to meditate more. I'm going to go to the gym more. I'm going to become more disciplined. And it's like, yeah, all of that personal development is great. Have you ever tried just crying so hard, like facing the depths of your grief? How about like losing things you love? Having an existential crisis, that shit is what changes you. Let me tell you, that shit brings you deeper into parts that you did not want to explore. And I think in order to do these things well, as I faced a lot of different challenges, addictions, insomnias, heartbreaks, losses, like all the disillusionments of life, we think life's going to be one way. Fuck. It is just a messy existence we live. And one thing I've learned through it all is that my higher self is literally laughing through the storm. And that if we are to live as heroes, take that for what you will. It may be conceited, but if we are to live as heroes, it is to live unafraid, unbothered, and joyful, and to have a complete experience, to not skip the negatives, not skip the positives, not skip any of it, but just say, bring it on. As Nietzsche said, to say yes to life, to say yes to this. And it's these periods of contrast, of these downgoings, that make life feel so much more beautifully. As I've been going through this complete overwhelm in my business, in my relationship, which you can read about in my newsletter, link below to my Substack. As I've been going through this complete overwhelm, honestly, like writing has felt so light and beautiful. My days have been full of peace and joy, right? Yeah, my nights, grief and sorrow, but nonetheless, like I freaking revel in the contrast. I love the contrast. And I think that is the key to the happiest and most fulfilled life is not living lukewarm. Oh, I'm just going to be more mindful and live a mundane existence of just like repeating the same freaking actions. I'm like, I want to be in hell and heaven. I want great, meaningful struggle with friends. I want heartbreaks. Like I want the lonely, difficult path. Then I want the beautiful, harmonious path. And then I want paradise. And then I want the desert. I want every season of life. Like bring it on. And I say that and I literally tremble inside when I say that because I'm like, fuck, what am I asking for? But like deep down in the spirit, in my higher self, that's exactly what I want. I don't want a lukewarm life. I don't learn anything. Yeah, you can learn a couple lessons from, being more mindful in the mundane aspects of modern life. But ultimately, like, to have a great voyage, to have a great love, and then a great loss, and then a great friendship, and then a great quest, and then a great struggle, and then a great release. I like suck the juices out of life in that. That is what I want. And let that be a reminder for you, for whatever you're going through right now, to say yes to it, bring it on, love this, and get through it. Because this is what actually liberates you into more freedom, into more joy, into deeper feeling on the other side, is saying yes to life and moving forward, and not getting, like, the last thing I want for you or for me is to get trapped in the stagnant, depressive, mundane lukewarmness of modern life. Go be hot or cold, go be high or low. Like, fuck. Just don't be stagnant. My name is Christian. This is my philosophical spiritual musings channel. I speak to entrepreneurs. I speak to leaders. I speak to creators out there who are growing into their most excellent form and their most flourishing community. If that's you and you want to talk to me one-on-one or join my brotherhood, my online brotherhood, there's a link below for that. And let's say yes to life, my friends. Peace.